Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Thriving Minds podcast with your host, Walter Parada, where we strive to provide you with empowering talks so you can live to thrive. I hope you find yourself in the right frame of mind, focusing on all the things within your control. All right, so today's episode, we're going to be talking about reading is foundational to a higher quality of life. So, reading is such a powerful exercise for our overall well being, yet it's still overlooked for so many different reasons. Reading is such a powerful exercise for our overall well being, yet it's overlooked for so many different reasons. But it's so foundational in us being better, to getting ahead, to continuously be making progress. Reading is how we gain information, and that helps us evaluate things, to weigh options, and this leads to making better decisions. It helps form independent thinking, to get away from following the herd, and this further helps you trust yourself, to believe that you can do great things. It is strengthening your mind that can truly tip the scale in your favor. More research has shown that reading really does change your mind. Researchers have confirmed using MRI scans that reading involves complex networks and signals in the brain. So, as your reading ability develops, those networks become stronger and more advanced. People are now reading 6 minutes less per day, from once averaging 23 minutes to now only 17. This might seem insignificant, but that's a 26% drop in valuable information that can transform a person's life for the better. Imagine having 26% more information that you can use to better yourself in the situations that you experience. Those from the ages of 15 to 44, on average, read less than 10 minutes per day, while people 75 and older spend 44 minutes per day reading. While yes, there's some differences in the lifestyles that the younger people live compared to those that are older. Obviously, as we're younger, we have a lot more things that are preoccupying our minds, whether it's school, work, and those that are older are probably retired and have more time on their hands. So it's understandable. You know, that cliche of reading is power is so true. And it's backed by habits by those that have amassed millions of dollars. On average, they spend 47 minutes per day reading for pleasure, which is about 2 books per month. 88% of financially successful people read at least 30 minutes per day. So while your goal might not be to have millions of dollars, being financially successful allows you to do what you want, live on your own terms. Some people are naturally inclined to picking up things quicker, and they can be seen by others as being intelligent. But that alone is not what makes a person smart. Remember, it's not that you're smart or not smart, but you can become smarter by reading more, as it helps to be more productive and give us a better understanding of the world around us. It fills our minds with powerful knowledge that we can use in our lives for the better. Whether it's how to start and maintain or grow a successful business, eating healthy, exercising, having better relationships, becoming a better person, just so many different things on what we can acquire. Each time you read, you enter another world of possibilities, because what you read is another person's perspective and ideas that further expands your horizons. Words create sentences that give life to ideas that can make them a reality. The more words you consume, the more you can figure out how to make that happen. To clearly communicate your thoughts so you can effectively take action to produce tremendous results. So the more that you read, the more chance you have of bringing those wonderful ideas to life. It's combining the idea with the execution to produce something truly marvelous. And it just requires your thoughts, your thinking to truly become more and more refined, where you can clearly communicate what's going on in your mind. This can make you more invigorated and empowered, that drives you to constantly want to learn. And reading goes beyond financial success. It's also a great stress reliever, as the many things that we all face weigh on us that keeps us from giving our best. Reading can reduce stress by 68%, more so than listening to music or going for a walk. Seems a little surprising, right? Maybe many of us are unaware of that useful information. I know I was. But when you can become immersed in what you're reading, you escape the challenges for a short period of time to unwind, to recharge, and gain better perspective to help you overcome what you're up against. Reading can spark an idea that you may not have considered, or it can help you laugh through what you're imagining that is happening. Another great benefit to reading is that it increases your emotional intelligence, as it puts you in the narrator's perspective or the character's perspective. It's taking yourself out of your own viewpoint and seeing where others are coming from. This already acclimates you to know how you might handle a friend that might be going through something similar. And if that does come about, and you're better prepared to provide them some comfort in the struggles that they might be going through. This is naturally going to help you out individually as well, because you might be going through something similar about what you're reading, where it gives you that chance to give yourself some distance from what you're going through and seeing it from a big picture point of view that helps you better handle it. This further develops your ability to regulate your emotions, to be able to process it and figure out how to best move forward. The greater your emotional intelligence is, the greater overall success you'll experience in life. And remember, success is all dependent on how you define it. So really, it's overall better life experiences. Emotional intelligence is a bigger factor in your overall ability to handle life better, more than just intelligence itself. Because instead of just fighting those painful emotions to avoid them or suppress them, you know how to interpret what's going on from an emotional standpoint to prepare you going forward instead of holding you back. It's simply not about using facts or logic to work your way out of situations, but how composed you can be during difficult times to make good decisions, to be resilient and bounce back from the setbacks and failures that you've gone through. Intelligence by itself does not equal good decisions. It might seem intelligent after failing so many times to just give up and move on to something easier. But that emotional intelligence is going to help you rebound from things stronger and more focused. There are many that are highly intelligent but make poor decisions, and that's because of their inability or less equipped to handle emotions well, that leads to poor outcomes. And in reading, this gets you acclimated to a different array of emotions, because depending on the type of book that you're reading, there could be some real sadness, anger, frustration, extreme excitement, or betrayal. All these different emotions that you're already experiencing and you're storing in your memory bank. In books or in articles about people's lives, it's a great way to gain somebody else's experience and wisdom, and you can relay that to your own life where you apply it that propels you forward. You know, it's said that smart people learn from their mistakes and wise people learn from the mistakes of others. And that's exactly what reading does, especially those autobiographies. It can tell the reader the mistakes that a person's made and how they can avoid them. While on the surface, reading seems pretty boring and unexciting, it just might feel that way because maybe the things that you're reading are uninteresting. So you got to find something that really grabs your attention. This is where school really kind of is a detriment, because there's so many different subjects that the schools try to get a student to comprehend, but most students are not interested in everything that's being talked about, or even a few things. If that happens to be the case, take the initiative and seek reading material that interests you. Whether it's cars or clothes or food or skiing or mountain biking, whatever it might be, just whatever piques your curiosity. Like anything else, something that you start off new or want to expand on, it takes a little bit of an adjustment period to get through the initial resistance of going down that path. So when you're not used to something, you got to force yourself or you got to be intentional about it. But with enough effort consistently doing it, eventually it's going to catch on. But nowadays it's very easy to get pulled in so many different directions that grabs our attention. Obviously, videos nowadays is a more enticing way to get information that can be entertaining and educational. But there's something to be said about reading because it really does expand the mind. It slows down your thoughts to focus better. It develops your imagination, your vision, different ways of thinking, as opposed to just pictures and videos that kind of just boxes things in by what is seen. And just read whatever suits you. It doesn't always have to be books. It can be several different articles. It can be magazines, blogs, short stories, just anything that really gets you wanting to know more. I can remember in high school, there was an emphasis put on reading 20 minutes a day at a certain time. So every student had to choose whatever book that interested them, and they dedicated a time throughout the school for 20 minutes of just reading. And I think that's a good initiative. But what gets in the way of making a dedicated effort, incorporating into your daily routine, is the perceived lack of time. In school, students are already regulated to sit in a classroom, being shoved a lot of information only to be regurgitated on a test. So this takes the students' want to read on their own less appealing, as they want other time to socialize and relax, just do something else. Who wants to read in class and then read more after that? For those that have amassed millions of dollars or those that are financially successful, they probably have a good way of structuring their day where they make time to read. For others, we have a want to do nothing for a short period of time, as this allows us to rejuvenate, and that's needed to get our curiosity going. So the more you read, the more it improves learning, decision making, it improves productivity and social engagement. Simply put, it creates more opportunity that leads to better outcomes and overall improved quality of life. It makes you more proactive, looking further out ahead to see potential problems and coming up with solutions before they even happen. This gets you to even prevent certain problems because you see things and take measures before things deteriorate. What great entrepreneurs do is that they can see problems and address them, providing viable solutions by selling a product or service. This is part of that self-education can make you a fortune. Just look at well-known entrepreneurs that use this trait that fuel their success. People like Brian Chesky, co-founder of Airbnb. He had trouble paying for rent, so to generate income, he rented out his room for a short period of time. Then he figured others may want to generate income by renting out part of their home, and then created a platform where people can do just that. A very unique approach to what was a simple problem. So consistently be on the pursuit of learning, as it makes life more fulfilling. It creates a wide-eyed wonder of the world that makes one embrace what is ahead. Problems are then seen as opportunities that can make the difference in how well you live. It makes you more focused on what lies ahead, that prevents you from resting on your accomplishments and dwelling on your mistakes. This keeps you in a nimble state, making you more adaptable to whatever comes your way. That ability to course correct grows your confidence to try new things, to take on more chances by being calculated with your actions. In all of this, it makes you multifaceted, that makes you aware of what already happened, to know where you are now and what's going on all around you, to see the bigger picture of how things might turn out. It makes you have a well balanced approach, not deeply pessimistic, that it makes you want to throw in the towel, but not overly optimistic, that it blinds you from the dangers that lie ahead. That ability to assess things accurately just grows that self trust and furthers your independence. But reading less, as expected, limits what can be done. Low literacy rates have a huge impact on the economy, costing $230 billion in healthcare annually because of the inability to read well enough to understand health information. So, the foods that you consume or certain medications that you could be taking, that lack of not understanding affects a person's health. It also costs $225 billion annually in non-productivity in the workforce and loss of tax revenue due to unemployment. This leads to an estimation of 2.2 trillion annually that is costing the economy because of lack of personal income, unemployment levels, health, and overall economic growth. These figures are merely estimations, but at least they give an idea of how much revenue that many of us could be missing out on. Reading more increases literacy rates, that opens up a wide opportunity to improve our lives. Reading more opens up our ability to capture more of that revenue. But it's not so much that having more money is going to make you happier, but it gives you a deeper understanding of what you want in life, what you want out of yourself, and you can use money as a tool to help facilitate that. And by being more informed, it is a very empowering feeling to know that you can do many different things, even new things that might have once seemed scary or less scary. It's really interesting. A lot of things that we fear or tend to shy away from is because of a lack of understanding. But the more that you come to understand and inform yourself of what is unclear, the more connection you make to it, that makes life that much more meaningful. A big culprit that really riles us up is the news in general, because what grabs our attention is negativity. And that is what the news generally delivers. We're naturally wired to pay more attention to what is negative to keep us safe. This triggers us emotionally, and we make decisions based off of fear that makes us run away from things. That term, curiosity is what killed the cat, kind of stigmatizes learning more about the things that seem scary or a threat or just misunderstanding. So it kind of shuts down that want to know more, because we're taught to mind our own business. Only do as you're told, you'll get the information that you need. But we need to take it on ourselves and look for the information that we want. Not to be nosy, but to read things that make us better people. So reading combats that, as it informs you to understand all the moving parts of the story that you might be receiving. It's really interesting because as people report things or certain videos or images are shown, it kind of gives a false indication of everything that's going on. It's a snapshot that can be taken out of context. And the more that you come to research the things behind what we initially see or what we initially interpret, it gives us a deeper understanding that there's multiple sides to what's going on. And doing this more develops empathy that helps us understand one another, the different backgrounds that we're coming from, those different viewpoints, to draw us closer together. It's natural for us to stay away from those that disagree with our viewpoints, and this largely limits us if we stay within that circle. So use that curiosity to step outside yourself, to know that you can be in disagreements with others, but find out why. Question your own viewpoints, your own beliefs, and take the side of those that differ from you. And this is really going to help you be more patient and understanding that increases your overall emotional intelligence. Reading does open up a whole new world where it truly makes you multifaceted, highly informed, and highly skilled, where you value yourself even more because of that ongoing journey of gaining new knowledge. And as you're acquiring new information, ideas seem less and less abstract and more concrete, where possibilities become more abundant and limitations are merely a mirage. It's going to be important to read things that uplift you and those things that can be done because it's very easy to get drawn into negative headlines. So the common things like the economy is going to collapse, the world is in big trouble because of global warming, or wars that are ongoing, or people being up against each other. This information can really trigger the reptilian brain to be in survival mode and suppresses the cerebrum from helping you think things through, analyzing things, and coming up with solutions. This is not to say that these types of articles, stories, or books need to be avoided. They're actually needed, but it's a balance of different subject matters on both ends of the spectrum, where you get that highly optimistic point of view and the highly pessimistic point of view, but you can take the information from each side to figure out viable solutions, figure out ways to handle things for the better, and come up with your own thinking. Because, as mentioned before, things are never as good or as bad as they seem. They're right in the middle. So, taking that balanced approach of what you read makes you a more balanced person, makes you more balanced in your thinking, where you can weigh the pros and cons about the decisions you're contemplating. This can really accelerate the development in your emotional intelligence to handle those intense emotions and leverage it for the better. Just think of how empowering information is to our daily lives. The internet is such a huge resource for many of us as it allows us to figure things out on our own, to do things on our own that makes us feel accomplished. Just think, you can search for how to change a flat tire in your car by searching the information, how to bake a cake or how to bake cinnamon rolls, simply by just reading instructions. And this is probably going to save you money from having to hire somebody if you do it right. And if it turns out wrong or a mess, just chalk it up to a learning experience. Here's another statistic that might entice you to read a little bit more. 86% of people with an annual household income of $75,000 read at least one book every year. This seems totally doable and takes that pressure off of needing to read a set amount every day. If it's boring or unappealing to read, work your way up to it where you read a little bit at a time, where it's a couple of minutes, then a few minutes, and then as the weeks go by, you increase it a few more minutes. And then you get to the point where you start craving it. Maybe you're at 15, 18, 20, 30 minutes of reading a day. Or maybe not even a day, just, 4 or 5 times a week. Enough where it becomes a habit. Reading really keeps you on a path of a good quality life. 3 out of 5 people in the American prisons can't read, and 85% of juvenile offenders have problems reading. If reading is a problem, it can make us feel inferior. I remember I had trouble reading in the second grade and was held back because of it. At first, I felt deeply ashamed and angry that all my other classmates were moving on and I was being left behind by the herd. But this fueled me to take reading seriously. My attitude did change going into the next year when I had to repeat the second grade, where I was going to give my best. But during that summer, I just felt like I was less than, that I was not smart, and I was just frustrated with myself. This turned out to be a great opportunity for me because I think at the time, at somewhat of a young age, I was already experiencing some adversity, and it was an opportunity for me to build my resilience so I can bounce back from it. And I did remember from that point forward, I did take school seriously, even though it's not something I look forward to, but it served me well. And during that year that I had to repeat the second grade, I had a reading coach that would take me and two or three other classmates aside, and she dedicated time to helping us read. And that helped me get on the right track. When I struggled to pronounce words, she was there to, help me out. And that was enough to grow my confidence that I could do it. And eventually, started building momentum in the right direction. If your reading skills might be lacking, there's no need to be ashamed of it. And in fact, you can use some of that frustration and anger to fuel you. So, like mentioned before, it's not whether you're smart or not smart. You just got to develop yourself by acquiring knowledge, reading, and always learning. Like anything in the beginning, you just got to start off with something that is relatively doable. So, if you struggle to read well, pick something up that interests you and you can get through it. And then eventually you can start building confidence and just start building your repertoire to the next level and the next one. Make reading a habit where you're seeking things out and you use it as a tool to further develop yourself, to unwind, to develop your imagination of whatever that might be. Some say that information is the new oil, meaning that the more information you have and knowing how to use it properly, it can set you up for a great life because of the potential to make higher amounts of money. So obviously, this is evident in the business world where entrepreneurs can see a problem, provide a viable solution, and know how to sell it to consumers. Reading is directly correlated with the quality of life that you're setting yourself up for. Whether it's financial, health, personal growth, relationship, career opportunities, travel, all these things are made possible by reading. We're not all born knowing, so we must acquire knowledge, acquire skills, and that takes initiative. I'm sure you've heard formal education can make you a living, and self education can make you a fortune. Because in self education, you're not tapped out or limited by somebody giving you information, somebody telling you what to do, someone showing you how to do it. You're the one that's driving all that. In most cases, you'll get nothing if you wait around, hoping for luck, waiting for some sort of break. But when you take the initiative and ask questions, it propels you to seek out information, whatever that can develop and advance you. Reading is foundational to your trajectory in life, so invest in yourself by consistently reading, and you'll grow your overall value. Well, I hope you enjoyed this episode. If you're interested in more topics like this, become a Thriving Minds member at www.thrivingminds.live. It's your personal development resource so you can build that right mindset and live to thrive. All right, until next time.